Well, our journey is going to start here, right inside the Winter Gardens. Welcome to Bournemouth. I came here on a family holiday and yeah, I mean, I've already gone past some locations that were the places that I stayed. It brings back a lot of memories, and the 1995 holiday, I was only probably about 13 years old, but there's so many stories to be told. So I'm going to head into Bournemouth and I'm going to find out what and how much it's changed since 1995. It's a bit of a reminiscing, but that's not before we get upstairs and have a look at the apartment. I'll get the key in. There we go. Wow, this is truly amazing. Now, I have stayed in some places in my time, but nothing has ever looked quite as modern and so up to date like this. Well, as I said, there's no time to sit round. Let's get into Bournemouth. Now, I did say that the Winter Gardens was going to be the exact place to start, and it is, because many years ago I came here with my family in 1995, and there's a lot of things that happened on that holiday. I'm going to take you to some of those places, not that it means much to you, but it's going to be good for me to relive those places that I've been before. And the Winter Gardens, we walked around this one evening and there were all candles lit everywhere, and I went round the gardens, lit the candles, and there was a brass band playing up on a balcony somewhere in this park, and they played Green Day, Basket Case. Whilst the Winter Gardens hadn't changed that much, neither had the pavilion. It still was doing what it always used to do with its wonderful gardens. The only thing was, it wasn't showing anything on stage. However, I was about to reach newer heights. Towering above me is this, the Bournemouth Eye. It's time we get on it, have a look at some of the greatest views that we can see from Bournemouth. Right up there. Hold on, mate, hold on. It's my video, mate. Excuse me. So here we are at Bournemouth Pier. Now, Bournemouth Pier has been here for years, and the most interesting and significant thing about this pier is that I actually watched a play back on this pier, theatre, back in 1995, and it was called Doctor in the House. It starred Robin Asquith, Windsor Davis, Fraser Hines, and I think it even had Ted Rogers in it. And it was all housed just up there in that pier theatre. And I remember I waited at the end of the pier theatre by the bar, bumped into Vicky Michel of Allo Allo, but also, more importantly, I actually bumped into Robin Asquith and Windsor Davis. And Windsor Davis, I was a big Carry On fan, and I asked him a question. I said to him, Windsor, did all that shouting in Carry On England give you a sore throat? And his reply was, yes, I still got it, lovely boy. And it was one of those things that I will never forget, that I met Windsor Davis in Bournemouth in 95 on this very pier. Sadly, the Pier Theatre has long gone and now open to an adventure centre called Rock Reef. However, things weren't going to be all disappointing, as I was about to visit my favourite location. The BIC, Bournemouth International Centre. This was one of my favourite haunts back in our 90s holiday. I spent a good evening in here, probably every night, drinking a slush puppy from the far corner of the building. We're now going to see if we can try and get in and see whether I can reminisce and have a little look around. It'll be good to see whether the BIC's changed in all those years. So let's go in and let's see whether they'll allow me to film as well. Hopefully they will. We don't know, we could be back out sooner rather than later, but the BIC was my favourite place in Bournemouth, and like I said, I would be here every evening, drinking a slush puppy, looking over the sea at the night boats that came in. It's good to be back here after all these years. There we go. We wasn't allowed inside, but the main thing is we got into the reception. We was able to see what it looked like. It looks exactly the same, and to top the bill, we weren't allowed upstairs as it's closed still. I think that's due to COVID. Did try and get upstairs, but they wouldn't allow it. I reckon if I was sneaky enough, I could have probably done it and got under the barrier, but I was polite and asked first, and yeah, we didn't get that far. But the main thing is we actually got inside, and we've actually seen the Bournemouth International Centre after all these years, since 1995, and it still hasn't changed. And I think it still is my favourite place in Bournemouth, without a doubt. Well, we're here at one of the original hotels that we stayed back in 1995. It's this one right here with the white door. It's called now called the Bedrock. In the day, it was called the Bewdley Hotel, and that's it right there. Now, my dad used to wash his pants and towels and hang them outside the window while we went out for the day, and yeah, he would basically hang them outside for them to dry, so when they got back it was all good. But significantly behind me is this, the Palm Beach Hotel, and this was a nightmare hotel because it was like an 1830s hotel, and it was called the Safari, and every night there'd be parties happening here. We'd be up in that window up there listening to all the music going on until about 2-3 o'clock in the morning while everyone outside was having a good fun. It was a lovely holiday, a lovely hotel, but this place was just an absolute nightmare. Trying to get a good night's sleep, impossible. But it really does bring back a lot of memories, and it's good to be back here where once stood the Bewdley Hotel. Now, Bournemouth hosts the world's first pier-to-shore zip line. This thing is quite high up in the air, right at the very end of the pier, and it goes right over the pier, and then it goes basically onto the shore. It's about 30 seconds of fun, but yes, me being me, I've signed up for it. So, going to switch to the GoPro footage now, and you're about to see me jump the highest height physically possible from Bournemouth Pier to shore. This is the Rock Reef Zip Wire.
3, 2, 1.
St Peter's Church in Bournemouth. And you just saw the Mary Shelley pub. It's a Wetherspoons, but it's named after that famous author that wrote Frankenstein. And we're going to take a quick look at her grave, which is just up these steps. And here's the famous grave. So it says here, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, daughter of William and Mary Conwyn and widow of the late Percy Bysshe Shelley. She was born on the 30th of August 1797 and died on the February the 1st, 1851. It's so good to come to Bournemouth to see this. I mean, you know, such a prolific author of Frankenstein, which of course, as you saw on the pub sign, was a monster. Well, yeah, Frankenstein wasn't the monster. The Frankenstein was in fact Baron von Frankenstein, the creator of the monster. So the pub's got it wrong, but Mary Shelley wrote it. Have a look, check it out. It's a great novel. Francis Road. There we go. There's another hotel we stayed at, this time in 1997. And we stayed at this hotel. We was perched right up in the middle of this top thing up here. And I put my foot through the ceiling. I was whacking it and whacking it and whacking it with my heel. And for some reason, I made a big dent. I don't know if the dent's still there. They might have, you know, got rid of it. But it's no longer a hotel. And if anything, it's probably now somewhere a lot of people might use the house as a sharing place. But it's good to come back here. Just beyond me here, amongst these big evergreens, you can't see it. This was well cut down in the day. Used to be, and it still is, a bowling green. And you used to get a lovely view from the top. But sadly, they've let it overgrown slightly and you can't actually really see into it. But it's good to be back here. I still can't remember the name of this hotel though. It's gone. Whilst the name was called the St Rowans, we move on now to another hotel with a creepy feeling on Knoll Road. In '95, our very first hotel we stayed at was this here. This was called the Cyrene Hotel, owned by two old ladies. And me and my dad had this conception that up in that bell tower there was a dead body. We never got to find out because we was only there for one night. However, that night there was a massive thunderstorm. And I've got to say, they have done it up and made it look really, really nice. But in the day it looked like a horror house out of Psycho. And it really was scary stuff. With a thunderstorm bellowing above you, this hotel was definitely one that we was glad to get out of. Thank God we only spent a night there. I've now brought you out of Bournemouth and to its neighbouring district of Poole. Lovely little place. So what we've got here is we've got the Brown Sea Ferry, which is part of the National Trust, which goes all the way over there to that island over there. You can go to a National Trust castle called Brown Sea Castle. And this will take you across the water, about a 10-minute journey to that lovely place. You've got Poole Harbour and sandbanks over in that direction. And here, as you can see around me, we've got the classic Poole pubs all the way around, and then the magic of the harbour itself here. There are boats in it. As you can see, there's some real good speed liners. But the main interesting thing that we got here is this old boat that will take you across. Now, this has been going for years, but this is perhaps one of the better things that you can see across the harbour. And if you get a chance to go on it, it's really clever. But you know, you can go across the harbour, you can see what you want to see, and also you've got a lot of industry here, a lot of cranes. But look at this wonderful boat just beside me. This is what you come to Poole for. These boats are probably worth in excess of nearly maybe £80,000. You could buy a new house for that, you know? Crazy. The Poole Arms, probably one of the most oldest pumps in Poole Harbour, probably used in the 1800s when this was a mere place for a load of ships to come in with smugglers and pirates abound. Well, that brings us to the end of this reel at Bournemouth. As you can see, I have no intentions of leaving anytime soon. I think I might be here for quite a while. Me and my predicaments. Until next time, when I'm on tour again, if I ever get out of this,